All right, big weekend coming up here. We got UFC 273, and while we typically toss to maybe an interview on tape, we said no, we're going big today. We're going big. Jon Anik, UFC commentator, living legend, live in studio. What's up, dude?
Great to see you, Emerson. That's the first time in my 43 years on this planet I've been called a living legend. We'll take it.
That's
but it's
right,
a big
baby.
week. It's good to be in Boston. Going to Jacksonville later today, and we got a huge pay-per-view, obviously, Saturday night.
Awesome. Duval there in Jacksonville. Yeah. Can I get one? A Duval.
Duval.
Excellent.
All right?
All right, let's talk about this fight here. All the good ones. So we got almost a decade since Korean Zombie, right? Fought plus 525, fought for the featherweight title. That was an epic battle, almost like a decade ago against Dustin Poirier, right? So you lose to the champ, Jose Aldo, and this week he's facing Alex Volkanovski.
Yeah.
Is that minus 760? That is a heavy favorite. You said that right before you came on set. We got some heavy favorites in this one. So what's he got to do to get the belt this time?
Right, and I can sit here and say that Volkanovski, having won 20 consecutive fights in mixed martial arts, probably deserves this distinction as a near 8-1 favorite. But it's interesting. The Korean Zombie, so back in 2013, that was his first championship opportunity. Then he had mandatory military service in South Korea. So he didn't compete at all from 2013 to 2017. Now he's 4-2 in this second UFC run, if you want to call it that. You know, puncher's chance is something that gets trotted out a lot in modern day mixed martial arts and in combat sports in general. I think he has more than a puncher's chance, and I'll have more insight when I sit down with him in our fighter meeting on Thursday. But I think he needs to find a way to make Volkanovski uncomfortable early. He's going to have to test that durability. And I do think in terms of the Korean Zombie's risk mitigation, when you're a plus 525 underdog, like, you got to go for it. And perhaps that sounds amateurish and simplistic of me just as a sports fan saying, hey man, betting line says you're up against it, you got to go for it. But he's an aggressive, crowd-pleasing fighter, but I think he needs to take more risks than he normally would, or he's going to be up against it.
All right, this bantamweight title fight, like, what are you looking for here? Like, co-main, Sterling plus 350, like, against Young, minus 475. This is the rematch of that questionable DQ from last year, right?
Yeah. So first meeting was UFC 259 last March. Aljamain Sterling becomes the undisputed champion on an illegal knee from Petr Yan. Now, betting line at close for that first meeting, Petr Yan was minus 130, the favorite, and Aljamain Sterling was plus 110. Now Jan's a 5-1 favorite. So you can understand why a lot of the betting public, even if it hasn't shown up in the sportsbook yet, sees a lot of value on Aljamain Sterling. Sterling's been out a year. He had neck surgery. Jan really appeared to be the better fighter in the first meeting. And I think it's properly priced. You know, I know that isn't the public opinion right now, but I would expect that some money will come in on Aljamain Sterling. And I think he'll close maybe closer to plus 300 than where he's at right now.
All right, let's go to another favorite here. I mean, Chimaev, minus 525, facing a top 10 challenger here in Burns, who's plus 385. So is Chimaev going to carry, like, his opponent over to Dana White again, like, in the octagon? Like, what? That was entertaining as hell.
I hope for Gilbert Burns' sake that is not his fate on Saturday night. But a lot of people are wondering, how could Khamzat Chimaev, number 11 in the world, be a near 6-1 favorite against Gilbert Burns, who is the number 2 ranked welterweight contender in the world? And I would submit to you that Khamzat Chimaev is the most dominating prospect that I have seen in 11 years sitting in that play-by-play chair for the UFC. So I'm all in. You know, I think the hype is real. I think he is that good. But Gilbert Burns is a dog, man. So again, I can understand if somebody says plus 525 for a fighter that's far more UFC tested, 18th UFC appearance for Gilbert Burns. He's fought for the belt. I can understand why people like that number. To me, I'm just not looking to fade Khamzat Chimaev right now, just given how dominating he has been thus far in the UFC.
So what else stands out to you on this card? What else should fans, like, watching right now, UFC fans out there, what should they be keeping an eye on this weekend?
All right, so matchmaking at its finest, in my humble opinion. I know the UFC cuts my paycheck, but a strawweight matchup between Tecia Torres and Mackenzie Dern. We've seen a little bit of movement on DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, Mackenzie Dern is minus 120. Tecia Torres is plus 100. This is a huge fight in terms of the career trajectory for both women. I'm thankful that I don't have to pick a winner because I'm actually calling the fight. But it's a fascinating stylistic matchup. Prevailing wisdom is if the fight hits the floor, huge advantage for Mackenzie Dern. Tecia Torres should have her way on the feet. It's my favorite fight on the card other than the big three, and obviously it's properly positioned on pay-per-view Saturday night.
Jon Anik, man, great having you in studio. UFC 273 this weekend, everybody.